Across the galaxy, fleets of many alien races floated in silence. Their sensors were always watching, always waiting for danger. But on this day, something strange appeared on every scanner dot. It was not a star dying. It was not a black hole forming. It was MOVEMENTA, ripple in the deep void. A shadow crossing the dark between galaxies. The alien commanders stared at the readings. The energy signal was massive, far too controlled to be natural. At first, some thought it was a mistake. Others thought it was a weapon test from the great empires, but the ripple did not fade. It grew stronger, closer dot in the high chambers of the Karzan Empire. Warlord Drez watched the signal with a grin. It is nothing, he told his generals. A supernova wave. Or perhaps a broken mining ship. Humans could never create something that shakes the void. The generals laughed with him. They all remembered Earth. A small planet, weak armies, ships made of fragile steel. The galaxy never feared humans. Why would they start now? But not everyone laughed. On the planet Vera, the Council of Seers leaned over their glowing orbs. They whispered in uneasy voices. It is not an Empire ship. It is not an accident. This is human work, and it carries silence with it. The alien crowds who heard this rumor burst into laughter. Humans? They said. Those ground walkers? Those primitive dreamers? They cannot even build fleets like ours. Yet the sensors did not lie. Out of the void, one ship came. One single war vessel dot. It was long, black, and heavy with power. Its engines burned with a strange white light that twisted space itself. No alien database recognized the design. No empire claimed it. And it bore the human flag across star systems. Panic spread. Was this a bluff? A trick? Why would humans send only one ship into the galaxy? The Velari Republic called it foolish. A lone ship cannot stand against fleets of hundreds, their prime speaker announced. If Earth wants to scare us, they have chosen the wrong path. The Krith Dominion was not so sure. Admiral Zarin leaned closer to the hologram of the foe. Human vessel. He could not stop staring at the strange weapons fixed to its hull shapes that did not match any known design. It looks empty, one of his officers said. Zarin shook his head. No, it looks hungry. In the Galactic Council, arguments exploded. Some demanded the ship be destroyed before it reached any world. Others warned that attacking without knowing its power would be suicide. Still, the laughter continued. Across alien networks, humans were mocked. One ship? That is their big move? Perhaps it is a colony ship that lost its way. Perhaps. Earth finally built something strong enough to leave their cradle. Shall we clap for them? But when the warship sent its first signal, the laughter stopped dot. It was not a message of peace. It was not a threat. It was only coordinates dot a destination. Every alien who saw it felt the same cold fear. The ship was heading toward no empire, no trade route, no battlefield dot. It was heading toward the empty heart of the void, where no one lived, where no stars shone. A place older races whispered about, but never entered. Why? No one knew. But still, the ship moved, silent and unstoppable. Its engines tore through space, as if the void itself opened a path for it. On Earth, there was no broadcast, no announcement. The governments remained silent. Human leaders gave no explanation. The world seemed calm. Ordinary people did not even know one of their warships was out there, shaking alien empires with its presence. Only a few in secret knew the truth. This was no ordinary ship. It was the first and only of its kind, built in silence, hidden for years, its purpose known only to those who commanded it. Aliens speculated wildly. Some believed it carried a new weapon. Others feared it was alive. But one fact was clear. Every alien fleet that tracked it felt the same thing in their hearts. Fear. Because even though it was only one ship, it moved like no fleet ever had. Because even though humans were mocked as weak, this single vessel carried the weight of something greater. And because, deep down, every alien leader realized the same truth: if humans had built this, then they had been hiding their strength for a long, long time. In the chambers of the Karzan warlord, laughter finally faded. Drez stared at the final sensor update. The human warship was still moving. Its engines had not slowed. Its course had not changed. "Send a fleet," he ordered, but his voice was uneasy. His generals looked at him in shock. "A fleet? For one ship?" "Yes," he growled. His eyes locked on the cold, black outline of the vessel on the screen. "Because if I am wrong, we are already too late." And across the galaxy, in every council, every empire, every fleet, whispers began to spread. One ship, one war vessel, human-made. And already all worlds trembled. Across the galaxy, fear began to spread. It started small, just a rumor in the trade lanes, a whisper in the markets, a quiet murmur among Starship captains. They spoke of a shadow that crossed the void, a ship without a name, without a banner, but carrying the mark of Earth. At first, many dismissed it. The galaxy was filled with stories of strange lights and wandering machines. But this was different. Entire fleets had felt the ripple of its passing. The energy trail left behind was stronger than anything recorded before. In the council chambers of the Valen Dominion, the debate grew heated. Their high speaker slammed a clawed hand against the table. "Humans? Impossible. They are still children. Their ships are old, their weapons outdated. They cannot build something that shakes the stars." But one of their science advisors, a thin and trembling figure, stood up slowly. "High Speaker, I studied the energy readings. This ship is real. It is not a trick. Its engines bend the void itself. No known empire has such power." The chamber fell silent. For the first time in decades, even the arrogant Valen leaders could not laugh. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of the Kroth Empire, a warlord named Keharzek gathered his admirals. He was a giant beast of scales and iron, his voice echoing like thunder. "A single human ship dares enter our space? Good. We will crush it. We will tear it apart and display its wreckage over our capital world. Let the galaxy see the weakness of Earth." His admirals roared in approval, but deep inside, some of them felt unease. Reports from scouts were strange. Ships that tried to follow the human vessel never returned. Their signals were cut off mid-transmission. No wreckage. No distress calls. Only silence. One of the younger admirals whispered, "Perhaps it is not wise to chase a shadow, my lord." Perhaps Keharzek's claws slammed down, ending the words. "It is a human toy, nothing more, and I will prove it." Far away, the trade guilds grew nervous. Profit was everything to them, but fear was bad for business. Ships were refusing to travel near the sectors where the ripple had been felt. Merchants whispered that the human warship could appear anywhere, at any time. Some said it moved faster than light itself, not by normal FTL drives, but by something darker, older. One guildmaster called an emergency session. "We must know where it goes. If it strikes one world, all markets will collapse. Send spies. Pay. Informants. Find its course." But every attempt failed. The human warship did not follow known paths. It did not move like any normal fleet. It cut across dead zones, drifting systems, even through black nebulae, where no sane ship would travel. To many, it felt alive, as if the ship itself had a mind. On a quiet mining moon, a group of alien workers huddled around a radio. They had intercepted a faint signal. A human voice, distorted, but clear enough to freeze their blood. "Voidbreaker entering phase shift. Destination: classified. That was the first time the galaxy heard the name Voidbreaker. A name whispered with fear, passed from system to system. In the Galactic Council, tension reached a breaking point. Representatives of dozens of empires shouted over one another. It must be destroyed before it reaches our borders. Fools! If you attack it, you may awaken its true power. It is only one ship. Do you fear humans so much? You do not understand. Humans build with desperation. If they built this, it is not to bluff. It is to kill. The council fell into chaos. No decision could be made. No alliance could form. The galaxy was too divided, too proud, too blind. And so, the Voidbreaker moved freely. From a dark station, orbiting a dead star, an old alien historian recorded his thoughts. He had seen the rise and fall of many empires, but never had he written words like these. Civilizations fall not when they are struck, but when they begin to fear the strike. That has not yet come. The human warship has already won a battle without firing a single shot. Days passed. Systems stayed on high alert. Fleets gathered near their borders. Yet the Voidbreaker never attacked. It simply moved, watching, waiting, but then came. The first true sign of its power. A Kroth scouting fleet of 12 warships intercepted the Voidbreaker at the edge of a red dwarf system. They expected to overwhelm it quickly. Instead, silence followed. Hours passed, then days. The fleet never returned. What remained was a single message, transmitted across every frequency, in every language. We cross the void, not as prey, but as hunters. The galaxy trembled. That night, across alien worlds, fear grew like wildfire. Children were told to stay indoors. Leaders stayed awake, staring at the stars, because somewhere out there, one ship moved through the void. One ship that belonged to humans. One ship that no empire could stop. And no one knew which world it would choose next. Alien fleets across different sectors began tracking the human warship. It was not rushing. It was not hiding. It simply moved steady, calm, almost like it had all the time in the galaxy. That alone made the aliens uneasy. For thousands of years, powerful empires had ruled the stars with pride. They believed they controlled every border, every fleet movement, every rival. But now one single ship, only one, had shaken their confidence. Reports flowed into alien councils daily. Some said the human warship was the size of a dreadnought. Others claimed it was larger than any vessel ever seen. But the strangest thing was this: their scanners could not measure its full mass. The ship seemed to bend readings, as if space itself was refusing to reveal its true scale. Admiral Vayer of the Kazan Empire leaned forward in his command chair, staring at the hologram of the human ship. His claws tapped the armrest nervously. "This is impossible," he muttered. "Humans cannot build this. They were always behind. Always too fragile. How can a species like them create a monster like this?" His second officer, a scarred veteran, named Crawl, shifted uncomfortably. "Admiral, with respect, the ship is not slowing. It is on a direct course, and it is not avoiding patrol fleets. It is ignoring them." That was true. Countless alien ships had crossed its path, but none dared attack. They watched from a distance, too afraid to provoke it, because deep down, none of them knew what would happen if they fired. The Galactic Council gathered once more. Voices shouted in panic. "Destroy it before it reaches our borders. Wait, we don't know its weapons. It could wipe out fleets." It is one ship. How can one ship threaten empires? But behind their loud words was fear. The silence of the human warship was louder than any threat. It spoke of confidence. It spoke of power. Meanwhile, inside the human ship, the crew was silent too. Only The hum of engines and the soft whispers of computers filled the air. Captain Elias Kane stood on the bridge, staring out into the dark void through reinforced glass. His face was calm, but his heart was heavy. He knew the galaxy was watching. Every move his ship made was being tracked, studied, feared. Status? He asked softly. A young officer replied, "All systems normal, Captain. Shield stable. Reactor at full." Weapons charged, but silent. Kane nodded. That was the plan. Silence. The galaxy needed to see the ship, not hear it. Let them imagine. Let them fear. Let them wonder what humans had built in secret. But deep down, Kane knew something the aliens did not. This warship was not just a weapon. It was a message. A message carved into steel, energy, and fire. Humanity was no longer prey. In the far sectors, alien civilians panicked. Rumors spread like wildfire. They say the human ship can swallow stars. No, it can crush fleets without firing a shot. Some claim it carries weapons from an older age. Forbidden weapons. Merchants refused to travel near its path. Colonists abandoned outposts close to the void. Even warlords began pulling back fleets, not wanting to be the first to test the human warship's strength. The galaxy was shaking. Yet the humans had not spoken a single word. Admiral Vare received a new report. His fleet had tracked the human ship as it entered another system. Suddenly, something happened that froze the blood of every alien officer present. The human ship stopped. It did not drift. It did not adjust. It simply halted, as if space itself had obeyed its command. The sensors screamed with unstable energy readings. The void around the ship bent, light curving unnaturally. "What is it doing?" Crawl whispered. Then the human warship sent out a signal, not a transmission of words, not a diplomatic message. Just one simple pulse. A deep, resonating vibration. That traveled through subspace. Every alien fleet, every sensor station, every listening post picked it up. One single sound. Low, cold. Final. It was not a call. It was not a warning. It was a reminder. Humans had arrived. In the council chamber. Silence fell. The bravest voices suddenly had no strength. Leaders exchanged nervous glances. No one wanted to be the first to respond. Admiral Vare's claws dug into his chair. He could not hide the tremor in his voice as he whispered. It spoke without. Speaking, it reminded us of something we all forgot. Humans were always dangerous. They were always patient. And now, they are no longer weak. Captain Elias Kane watched the ripple of fear spread across the galaxy through intercepted channels. His crew looked at him, waiting for his command. Kane finally spoke. His voice was low, but it carried weight. Prepare course for the next system. Let them keep watching. The ship moved again, slow, steady, silent. And every alien world shook, not because of war, but because of what they felt coming. The galaxy held its breath. For weeks, the single human warship moved through the void. It crossed borders, passed near star systems, and ignored every warning. Alien fleets tried to block its path, but the ship never slowed. It never fired. It only kept moving forward, steady and silent, like it had a destination no one else could. See, some called it madness. Others whispered it was a test, but the truth was simple. Nobody could understand the ship. In the capital of the Valoran Empire. A council meeting was called. The chamber was full of nervous voices, but the Valoran High Speaker tried to stay calm. It is only one ship, he reminded the others. One ship cannot shake the galaxy. Yet even as he spoke, his eyes betrayed his fear. Reports showed that alien fleets had surrounded the warship at different points. Dozens of cruisers, hundreds of fighters. But none dared fire the first shot. Why? Because every time the human, Warship scanners turned, alien systems went blind. Entire fleets lost communication for seconds, at a time seconds that felt like eternity. "It is showing us restraint," one Valoran admiral whispered. "If it wanted, we would be gone already." Meanwhile, on the warship itself, the crew remained unseen. No alien had managed to send a signal inside. No spy probe returned. The ship seemed to swallow every attempt, leaving nothing behind. Rumors grew louder. Was it unmanned? Was it controlled by an AI? Or worse, was it waiting for a signal from Earth to decide its first strike? Across the galaxy, fear began to outweigh laughter. The turning point came when the warship reached the border of the CERN Dominion. The CERN were proud and cruel, known for mocking humans as dust apes. Their warlord, Krasar, saw the ship as a chance to prove dominance. He sent his strongest fleet to intercept. The skies above the CERN homeworld lit with fire. Hundreds of warships lined up, blocking the path of the single human vessel. "Transmit to them," Krasar ordered. "Tell them this is their last chance to turn back." But when his officers tried, the words froze on their screens. The human warship was already transmitting something. A signal dot at first. The message was nothing but static. Then the static turned into a voice calm, deep and human. "This is the warship Sentinel. Stand aside." The voice echoed across every CERN channel, every ship, every outpost. Even planet-side citizens heard it through their comms. For the first time, the human warship had spoken. Krasar laughed. "One ship daring to command us? Destroy it." The order went out. Thousands of missiles launched, beams of plasma tore through the void, and fighters swarmed toward the single target. The galaxy watched. Billions tuned their comms to witness the end of the human vessel. But what they saw was something no one could explain. That the missiles reached the warship, then vanished. The beams of plasma curved away, missing by miles. Fighters found their controls unresponsive, their weapons refusing to fire. The Sentinel had not fired a single shot dot. It had simply bent the battle around itself. Alien scientists watching the live feeds screamed in confusion. "This is impossible. No shielding can do this." Inside the CERN flagship, panic grew. "Our weapons don't work," shouted a commander. "It's like the laws of physics bend around it." Then the human voice returned. "This is your only warning. Stand aside." Krasar, furious, slammed his fist into his command chair. But even he felt the fear now. His fleet, his empire looked powerless. Against one ship, slowly, one by one, the CERN vessels pulled back. They opened a path. The human warship continued forward, silent once more. The galaxy shook. Billions of aliens who had mocked humans now whispered in terror. That one warship could humiliate the CERN Dominion without firing a shot. What else was Earth hiding? In hidden chambers, councils debated. Some called for immediate war against humanity, before it was too late. Others begged for peace, fearing what another ship might do. And all across the stars, one question spread like fire. If this was only the beginning, what would happen when more human warships arrived? The Sentinel did not answer. It only moved forward. And every alien world wondered if it was heading toward them. The galaxy had never known silence like this. Alien capitals, once loud with trade, voices, and arguments, now stood quiet. Across thousands of systems, leaders stared at the same reports, the same signals. The human warship had entered new space. But it did not fire. It did not destroy. It only traveled slow, steady, like a shadow crossing the stars. Yet wherever it passed, alien fleets pulled back. Merchants canceled routes. Colonists locked their doors on entire planets. Why? Because Nobody knew what the ship would do next. In the Zorath Dominion, High Commander Vryn gripped the edge of his war table. Around him, his admirals shifted uncomfortably. "It is only one vessel," Vryn growled. "One ship cannot shake empires. We must strike it before fear spreads further." But even as he spoke, none of his officers met his eyes. They remembered. The Karzan fleet, entire armadas gone in minutes. A whole world silenced. One admiral finally whispered, "High Commander, what if it is not just a ship? What if it is a warning?" The words made Vryn freeze. Far away, in the council chambers of the Velari Union, a gathering of alien diplomats argued in panic. "The humans should be contained," one shouted. "They hid their technology," cried another. "This is a threat to every world in the galaxy." But then an elder Velari raised his long skeletal hand. His voice was quiet, almost trembling. "You do not understand," he said. "Humans do not build weapons just to display them. If they send one ship, it is not to boast. It is because they believe one ship is enough." The chamber fell silent. His words echoed in every corner. Meanwhile, on the human warship itself, the crew operated with calm precision. No panic. No speeches. Only quiet duty. The ship's commander, a woman named Captain Alara Dross, stood at the main viewport. Her eyes were hard, but her voice steady. "Stay on course," she ordered. "We are not here to waste movement. Every system will know our path. Every empire will watch. That is the message." Her officers nodded. They did not need to ask what the message was. Humanity was no longer waiting. Humanity was showing what it had become. Rumors spread like fire across the stars. Some said the ship carried a weapon that could rip planets apart. Others swore it was alive, that humans had fused machine with creature. A few whispered it was. Not even a warship at all, but a test something far worse was hidden behind it. The fear grew greater than any truth could ever be in the frozen halls of the Threx Syndicate. Their leaders slammed a claw against the table. "We will not bow to humans," he hissed. "If they believe their ship cannot be destroyed, we will prove them wrong." And so the Threx gathered a fleet 30 warships, armed and ready. They launched into space, intercepting the path of the human vessel. The galaxy watched, with breath held tight. 30 ships against one. Surely the humans could not withstand it. Surely the silence would break. When the Threx fleet appeared, Captain Alara did not flinch. Her crew waited, calm as stone. The alien ships spread out, their weapons locked, their engines burning bright. Messages came across the comms. "Human vessel, you are outnumbered. Power down your engines. Submit to inspection. This is your only warning." But the human ship did not slow. It did not even reply. Seconds stretched into minutes. The Threx commanders grew restless. Some began to panic. And then, without firing a single weapon, the human warship released a pulse that was not an attack. Not light, not heat, not destruction. It was silence. The Threx fleet lost all power. Their weapons shut down. Engines stalled. Entire ships drifted helplessly in space, dead like broken toys. The human vessel passed between them, its black hull cutting through the still void. It did not fire. It did not destroy. It simply moved on. The galaxy erupted. No one had ever seen such a weapon. No one had ever imagined silence could defeat fleets. No wreckage, no fire. Only fear left behind. In their panic, alien leaders began to argue not about how to stop humans, but how to survive them. One counselor whispered words that spread like poison. "If this is what one ship can do, what happens if Earth has more?" Back aboard the human ship, Captain Alara stood in the silence of the bridge. Her crew worked without speaking, their faces calm but eyes sharp. She knew the truth. She knew what the galaxy feared most. It was not the ship, not the weapons. It was the humans themselves, because no one knew what they were truly capable of. And as her vessel crossed the void, every alien world shook in fear. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for what came next. The galaxy had never been this silent. From the grand halls of the council to the smallest mining stations on forgotten moons, everyone waited. All eyes watched the same dark corner of space where the human warship had last been seen. No messages, no signals, no sound. Just silence. But silence was worse than any weapon. The alien leaders tried to remain calm. In their hidden chambers, they whispered and argued. "It's only one ship," said a proud warlord from the Vash Empire. "It cannot destroy us all." But his claws shook as he spoke. Even he remembered what the ship had already done, how it moved faster than any fleet, how it crushed defenses that should have been unbreakable. The truth was simple. One warship had made every empire tremble. On a distant outpost, a young alien officer named Cairn sat at his console, staring at the endless void. He had seen the recording ships breaking apart, cities falling quiet as shadows passed overhead. The human warship never fired without reason, yet every shot was perfect, unstoppable. What are they waiting for? Cairn whispered to himself. No one answered. His commander only shook her head. The humans had become a mystery. Their silence was not weakness. It was a message. Meanwhile, in the human command center hidden deep under Earth's oceans, Admiral Holt stood before the glowing map of the stars. Around him, the few surviving leaders of Earth watched. Their ship, was no longer on any sensor grid. Not because it was gone, but because it was cloaked in a way no alien could understand. The Admiral spoke softly, but his words carried weight. The galaxy thought we were small. They laughed when we tried to build ships. They called us weak when we stayed quiet. But now, they finally see us. One of the commanders asked the question everyone feared. Will the warship attack their homeworlds? Holt did not answer. Instead, he looked at the stars. The choice is not theirs anymore. The choice is ours. Across the galaxy, alien propaganda tried to calm the people. Broadcasts repeated the same words. Humans are fragile. Do not fear. Their ship cannot match our fleets. But in every home, in every market, whispers spread. Stories of the warship grew like fire. Children drew pictures of the massive ship crossing the stars. Soldiers refused to fight, afraid they would be the next to vanish. Even emperors struggled to sleep, haunted by the idea that when they opened their eyes, the human warship might already be above their skies. Then it happened. One night, sensors across 10 different star systems lit up. A single ripple appeared in the void. Not an army, not a fleet, just one shadow. The human warship thought it did not fire. It did not speak. It only appeared above the world of Threxus, the capital of a great empire known for cruelty and war. The aliens panicked, screaming for defense cannons. But before they could act, every weapon powered down. The warship did not destroy. It simply disabled. Then, for the first time, it spoke. A voice rang across every channel, translated into every tongue. We asked for peace. You gave us war. Now we cross the void not for conquest, but for balance. If you raise your weapons, you will fall. If you stand down, you will live. The choice is yours. The galaxy froze. No threats. No demands for tribute. Just a warning. The council gathered in emergency. The proud warlords who once mocked humans now begged for truce. Even the strongest empires signed the agreement. No more attacks on human colonies. No more blockades around Earth. It was done. With one ship, humanity had changed the laws of the galaxy. But the story did not end there. Admiral Holt stood again in the hidden chamber on Earth, listening to the reports. The council has surrendered their claims. a commander said. "They will leave us alone." Holt looked at the screen, where the warship glided silently through the void. It was returning home, its mission complete. Yet deep inside, the Admiral knew the truth. "They will fear us now," he whispered. "But fear can fade, and when it does, they will try again." He turned to his officers. "That is why this ship cannot be the last." In the shadows of space, shipyards hidden beneath asteroids glowed with new light. More human warships were being built, stronger, faster, deadlier. The galaxy thought one ship was enough to shake their worlds. They had no idea what was coming next. The first warship had crossed the void. The next fleet would own it. And so, every alien world stayed silent, waiting, watching, wondering when the humans would rise again, because the galaxy had learned one lesson that would never be forgotten. One human warship was enough to make them tremble. A fleet would make them kneel.